We're live. Welcome to the Daily Whatever. I'm Dana Dubois.
I'm Lawrence Winterman.
It's Monday morning. We're happy to be here.
Yes, we're happy to be here, even though it's Monday.
Yeah, Lawrence, it was one hell of a weekend, wasn't it?
It was an intense weekend. It was a really intense weekend. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody.
So good to see all of you joining this morning. I am navigating over to the chat. I'm waiting for it to pop in so that I can join. But, Substack, I feel like Substack is always metaphorically 2 steps behind. Like,
Yeah,
everything is a little bit of a lag, from, "Oh, Joe slept all day Sunday." Girl, I
I'm.
think Lawrence did the same.
I,
Or
I didn't. I didn't sleep all day Sunday.
no?
I mean, we were broadcasting until 1:30 p.m. Eastern.
Right?
Hi, Ellie. Thanks for joining. Um, and then I took a little nap afterwards, and then I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do that thing where I fall asleep and then am completely discombobulated. I actually stayed up until about 10 p.m. Eastern time, and then I went to bed and I slept for 10 hours. And the reason that my sleep was going to potentially be all messed up is because myself, Frederick Pogue, Nick Parrow, we spent 24 hours doing a nonstop live stream broadcast, a Substack Live, uh, to announce the launch of our new publication, Banner and Backbone. We started just after the Daily Whatever on Saturday. We started at 1 p.m. On Saturday Eastern Time, and we went nonstop until 1:30 p.m. on Sunday. And Dana, it was a blast. You were there.
I was not there the whole 24 hours,
Not
but
the whole time, but you
I was
you
there.
played a
Good
significant
show.
part. You came in and co-hosted for little bits of it, which was amazing.
I
You were
did.
you were like the awesome like support backup crew, handing us links and ideas and things in the chat. Um, and it was a blast and a huge success. Just
It really
stunning.
was. It was such an undertaking. We're gonna devote a lot of today's show to kind of a behind the scenes with Lawrence about how it was all going because it was rather amazing. Lawrence, I'd like to think I was kind of like the room mom for your big project. Like the room,
Right.
like every elementary school classroom has a room mother who's like bringing snacks and helping with arts and crafts. That was me metaphorically, like, "Everybody should subscribe, you fellas need a break." I've
Yeah.
got
Peter
fully
says,
interpret.
woke up, saw Lawrence before bed, saw Lawrence, woke up, saw Lawrence. Yeah, that's that's pretty much what it felt like. And I appreciate you being there, Peter. I appreciate everyone coming over and my God, Morgan was there. Morgan for so much of it and working out like a mad woman. 1,050 reps on Saturday, 600 reps on Sunday. Morgan, my God, lady. But thank you
That's
for being there and keeping us company because in those wee morning hours, ooh,
yeah,
ooh,
it
that was hard.
I bet. Um, I wanna give a few more minutes for more folks to join before we dive, deep into the details and start
Deep,
sharing
deep, deep
links.
into the details.
Yes. One thing that happened this weekend that, wasn't planned to be on the agenda, but, obits are never planned, is, Terrence Stamp died, actor Terrence Stamp. And I wanted to bring it up here, first of all, to just say rest in peace and power, because what a talent, what a loss. But because, he died yesterday, I was like, "Kids, I can't believe it's taken this long to introduce you to Priscilla, Queen of the Desert."
Oh,
And so we watched it last night. It was my first time seeing it in decades, a couple decades at least. I loved that movie so much when it came out. I owned the VHS. I don't know whatever happened to my old VHS tapes I owned, but I didn't own that many.
right.
And Priscilla definitely made the cut. And I was really curious to see how my kids would react to it and how, all with all these things, how does it stand up to the test of time? Because that movie came out in 1994. Believe it or not, Priscilla is 31 years old.
Believe it or not.
And I also well, so I wanted to share my insights, but I wanted to hear do you remember, Lawrence? Like, how did you react when you saw that movie? Because I can say with authority that I didn't fully grasp how important it was in a way
Yeah,
that
I mean,
looking back now, I'm like, "Holy shit."
it's interesting, right? Because it was a movie that was kind of like a bolt out of the blue, right? Like it was not in any way expected. And I mean, I'm potentially embarrassing myself here and saying, like, I'm pretty sure it came out of Australia.
Oh,
It
it did,
wasn't a
yes.
Hollywood production, right?
No, it was, yes,
And
they are Australian.
Australian cinema was definitely ahead of the United States in terms of tackling queer issues before Hollywood ever felt comfortable doing anything like that. And so, it was revolutionary, in 94 when it came out. So, that's the year that I came out of the closet. And
Right.
um, so I was admittedly not comfortable being queer, being gay. I was not comfortable being out, and then this movie comes out that's really about, obviously it addressed trans issues sort of in the language of the day. There are elements of that movie that are highly misogynistic, right? When we look back and watch it again.
Oh, the ping pong ball girl?
Yeah,
The very
specifically,
stereotypic Asian
exactly, and
mail order
specifically.
wife? Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And, but it was revolutionary, right? And it was funny and it was eye opening. Um, and it really, I'm not going to over dramatize and say that it changed my life, but it absolutely, I think, accelerated my own process of acceptance. And it gave an opening to talk about gay and queer issues at the time, which, you know, like I actively remember during that time period that, if like me, you were gay and you were struggling to come out of the closet or, you know, to talk to people about it, like you couldn't, if you brought up the topic, it was pretty much like you were coming out, and asking people like, "Oh, did you see that outrageous movie Priscilla Queen of the Desert?" was a great way to kind of bring up the topic of queerness without being like, "Oh, and by the way, I'm gay and I'm trying to figure out if you're a potential ally or, an
Right.
asshole."
How you respond to that film may would speak volumes.
Right.
Yeah, I, first of all, the kids really liked it, which made me very happy, because, a lot of times when we watch older movies, they're, like, dated, and, as soon as the wife, the mail order bride who's like, We marry you, husband," like, the whole the stereotypic
Right.
Asian mail
It's
order wife
like
popping.
racist and misogynistic. Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty that part was pretty bad. I have to admit I still laughed at the ping pong balls, Lawrence, because I couldn't help it because it was funny. I mean, it's meant to be comic relief in the movie, but, like, what really struck me about the film, a few things, was how much back then I didn't really understand the nuance of the 3 characters. That you have it like, the openly flamboyant, gay guy, right? And Guy Pearce, who, my god, young Guy Pearce was gorgeous. All the stereotypes from loving ABBA to blah, 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 blah. And then you have the sort of ambiguously the I guess bisexual, but more gay leaning, but he has a wife. My kids were just like, "That's a lavender marriage." And I was like, that was vocabulary we didn't really have back then. But of course, the little boy refers to how his mom had a girlfriend and the boy in it is so the future, right? He's this kid who's like, whatever, are you gay, straight, do you drag? I don't care. Do you want to play Legos? He was representing what I think the filmmakers hoped for the future.
Right.
And of course, Terrence Stamp as the trans woman, or in the movie, the transsexual, which is the language of the time.
Right.
Like, he brought such dignity to that role that I kind of missed back in the day. So what a legend. And I was trying to explain to my kids, because I'm always doing these annoying, tedious things as moms do, of like, because they were like, the drag isn't as spectacular as we were expecting. and they're not wrong. Like, the costumes are outrageous, but the actual performances are them just lip syncing, right?
Well,
The dance
and
moves
that
are
is a testament to RuPaul's Drag Race, right? Like that is a
yes,
testament to the fact that there's been
yes.
basically 20 years of RuPaul's Drag Race absolutely elevating the, ooh, look, we're going to do whatever coffee mug twinsy moment. Mm,
We should make this the photo, the cover
mm,
photo.
yeah.
What are you
Mm.
drinking, Lawrence?
I'm drinking coffee, but it's made ever so much more delicious by my whatever mug.
How do you take your coffee, Lawrence?
Mm. I was trying to come up with a sweet and blonde like my men, I guess.
Yes.
I mean, that's not.
Yeah. I used to say blonde and bitter like me. But that was when I had more blonde in my hair, and, yeah, this is PG Tips tea with some oat milk.
Ooh, PG tips with oat milk.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Chobani extra creamy.
Tell me you're a liberal living in Seattle without telling me you're a liberal living in Seattle.
I order
I'm
it from
drinking
Amazon.
oat milk. No oats were hurt making this milk. Well, I mean, the oats were hurt, but
I had to
no
pulverize the
cows.
oats. Yeah, and, I order my PG Tips in bulk from Amazon. I subscribe and save. I'm such a Seattleite. Ah, Lawrence. Anyways, to close up on this topic, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, 1994. It was right around. It was a couple years before Jill Solbuel's "I Kissed a Girl," which was the like first openly queer top 20, I think, pop song. Like the mid 90s, kind of cool shit was happening, and
Yeah,
we were already like, of course, gay people are fine in our little world, but like that was a pretty big shift. Oh, and you were saying testament to RuPaul's Drag Race, 100%. Like, the drag in the movie is, reasonably it's pretty
right.
tame.
Like the outfits in the movie are
Outfits were
fabulous,
outrageous.
right? And
Yes.
at the time, like that was part of the like absolute outrageousness of it was just like, oh my God. But
Yes.
yeah, like the actual lip sync and the dancing is nothing compared to what we see on Drag Race. I just got to point out, Ellie just said, I recommend watching the documentary Ladylike. A friend of hers directed it. It's about one of the contestants of Drag Race, Lady Camden, one of the like most excellent contestants of Drag Race. That is a great documentary, Ellie, and that's incredible. Uh,
Oh, I
I'm an
haven't seen that
insane
one.
RuPaul's Drag Race fan. I've seen literally every English speaking episode of Drag Race, plus a bunch of the non English ones. And Lady Camden is one of my favorite queens of all time. So that is incredible. Please give your friend kudos.
That's amazing. I love that you are encyclopedic about RuPaul's Drag Race. It's amazing. But yeah, I think, what's that like, Priscilla headed into the desert so that RuPaul could drag race through the streets.
Right.
I had
Right.
forgotten.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I had forgotten how spectacular it looked. I don't know if you remember this part, but they kind of take turns, um, not not Terrence Stamp, but the other 2 characters take turns getting on top of the bus while they're driving
Oh,
with
of
the
course.
banners streaming behind them, lip syncing to opera,
Yeah.
and it's
Absolutely iconic, right?
so spectacular, like
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that scene and the like the vibe of that scene, which was like sort of drag race outrageous and also like kind of Burning Man libertine, you
yeah.
can absolutely do whatever the fuck you want. Uh like permission granting. I think that's like encoded in the DNA of all drag queens who have come since that time.
100%. I was like, "God, that looks fun. I wanna do that." Like, it just looks so,
Right? Like
like,
suddenly I want to
liberating.
dress up fabulously and be ridiculous and ride on the top of
Yes.
a bus through the desert. Please.
And you know what sorry, I don't mean to harp on this film, one more point though, 'cause I was stunned by how much I didn't really get back in the day, or at least how much I understood it more now. The character of Bob, the mechanic in the middle of nowhere who, remembers the Lay Girls from when he had been in the service, who I guess were the drag queens back in the day when Terrence Stamp's character was younger. And he and Bernadette, her character, end up falling in love and being together. And he is this very like grizzled old man, like not particularly attractive and very straight. I mean, he's married to the mail order bride. You get some backstory about that that's pretty superficial, that he was just kind of tricked into it. But um, his sexuality,
Oh yeah. So as a young gay
fascinating.
man, I
Yes,
absolutely picked up on that at the time, which was like, oh, this is a dude who, you know, is queer in some fashion, right? Like maybe he's bi, maybe he's, gay and on the down, like he's clearly not comfortable with himself. He's clearly not comfortable being out, but you know, the attempt to marry the mail order bride was a beard, right? Like a
he gets tricked into it. He sleeps with her.
the way that I
And
read that, I'll go back and rewatch it myself, but the way
yeah,
that I read that at the time was like this is a dude who like like yes, there was a trick element to it, but like his story was he couldn't just meet a woman and fall in love, right? Like
true. Oh, I never thought about that. He had to be
he was
tricked into
trying
it.
to compensate in some way or another, and that's how he ended up, meeting this woman and getting tricked into it and everything and regretting it and sort of, being trapped in this loveless, sexless marriage, right? Because the not so subtext there
He didn't
was
want.
that she's horribly dissatisfied as well and does the ping pong ball thing, because they're not having sex, right? Like isn't that
I don't know. She makes a comment about his little junk as she pulls away.
right? Like she's not satisfied in that
No.
relationship, like let's
Yeah.
talk about, let's talk about her as a fully developed character.
Right.
She's not, but imagine
She's
imagine she
tricked.
were, imagine she could, imagine the movie, the Bechdel test passing movie that she's in, where she's talking to her friends about
Right.
how unsatisfied she is in her loveless, sexless marriage because
Yeah.
her husband has a small peen and is clearly not actually into women. And so,
Right,
yeah,
except Bernadette is very much a woman, and she's a trans woman. What what I this is why it's so ambiguous or so not ambiguous, but it was I didn't get it at all as a younger adult, and I'm now like, what I love about him is he's so enthusiastic. He's like, "You guys have gotta get up and perform in this small town," and he's screaming and cheering along for their drag routine and not really aware that no one else is super excited about it. Until his wife shows up with the ping pong balls, um, and he's so unabashedly into drag
right,
in this very rural town, and then yeah, the 2 of them fall in love. It was a fascinating blurring of gender and sexuality roles, and each character was bringing a new nuance to that.
right,
And, I didn't really get that at the time. I was just really, "Oh, it's a movie about drag, it's lots of colors, they play amazing music." So, and I was also trying to explain to my kids that, like, Terrence Stamp is, in all caps, a very serious actor,
right,
not someone who would normally perform in drag, and so the fact that he came in and played this kind of older trans woman, I I don't know if it's drag when it's a woman, but, was a performer, and you can tell is not a very strong dancer or lip syncer. It doesn't have the grace that the other
oh
2
right,
have,
right,
and
yeah,
it's almost funny how much he doesn't in the role, but, like, what dignity he brought to the character of Bernadette, and, she is a woman. She is very clearly, this very powerful, badass woman, and, what a thing to do in the '90s as this very hyper masculine man. So
right.
he was a legend. Rest in peace. I wanted to acknowledge at the start of our show while we give everyone time to join, that we lost a good one and that Priscilla Queen of the Desert still worth watching.
Oh my gosh, so worth watching. Like absolutely a great movie, super fun, and it did kind of kick off that period of like, I don't know, the Australian cinematic breakthrough into the United States because like
Yes.
Muriel's Wedding came after
Oh,
that and
yeah.
there was another boundary pushing movie where young Russell Crowe was gay coming out, Um, Fuck, I don't remember the name of it, but it was absolutely revolutionary at the time. And good God, young Russell Crowe as a gay dude,
I'm not sure what that was.
um,
Young.
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was basically like I think he was like, he was
The
out,
Sum
he
of
was gay.
Us?
I think he was a firefighter. Uh,
I forgot it. The Sum of Us.
the Some of Us. Yeah.
He was a plumber and rugby player.
That's
Wow.
oh yeah, that is where my love of rugby, of gay rugby, came from. Like that was sort of the precursor to the gay rugby craze, that then sort of took over in the '90s and early 2000s. Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was a cool era back right then, and a lot of change came as a result of it, and Terrence Stamp helped legitimize it. So, a very, like, warm Gen Xy thank you, dude. You
yeah,
did good.
yeah.
I loved it. So I loved rewatching it.
So Joe's writing something. Joe says, uh, transvestite cross-dressing question. So transvestite, I don't think we use that term anymore. For if you're talking about somebody who, a man who enjoys dressing up as a woman, but doesn't actually desire to be a woman, I think cross dressing is probably the more appropriate term these days. Um, my friend that my friend did that, but had hairy legs and didn't shave them, so had crunchy black leg hair under pale stockings. No, no, no. Question mark. It was the only thing that freaked me out, and would freak me out with any woman who did that. Um, Joe, I think the answer these days from the kids is whatever floats your boat. Like,
Yeah.
there is absolutely a category of drag that is, oh God, I'm blanking on the official term, but there's like a category of drag that's sort of like clown drag, right? Where there are queens that are specifically over exaggerating their makeup, and I mean, okay, they all do, but like Trixie Mattel, or kind of Jinx Monsoon before she kind of actually came out as trans and transitioned. Right. Uh,
You're
anyway,
doing
I'm
okay
losing my
there?
train of thought because I'm trying to remember the actual status of everybody's sexuality on Drag Race, which is too much information to go through the old buffer at this time in the morning. Um, but yeah, there's like a divine sort of inspired retro drag, like bearded woman, um,
Yes, very
gender
tongue in
fucked,
cheek.
gender queer, boundary crossing, like full beard but full beat, hairy legs under stockings. It's a-okay. Like, if
Yes.
that's your thing, that's your thing. And believe me when I tell you, thanks to years of my own experience and years of research on the internet, actual research and not porn searches, that there is a there is a boner for everything that you can possibly think of in the world out there. I don't know what it is, but there is
True.
probably a website dedicated to hairy legs and stockings, whether they belong to men or women, or anybody. It is probably out there.
Undoubtedly. Oh, for sure there are, uh, at least in straight land, there are dudes who are just into hairy women, so I have to think that that crosses over, and Joe, don't, it's totally fine that you said transvestite here, safe space, language evolves, and we can't keep
Absolutely,
up with
yeah, yeah.
absolutely
You don't need
everything,
to
so
apologize. I'm just trying
yeah,
to, kind of make sure that my language is reflecting what's currently acceptable in the culture. Not
yes,
trying to police, if that makes any sense.
it
Um,
absolutely does. That's why it was a neutral statement to
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
It
absolutely. Yeah.
wasn't judgment.
I think
We all grew up with Rocky Horror and the Sweet
I
Transvestite
was
song.
literally thinking about that the other
Yeah.
day, that the Rocky Horror Picture Show was groundbreaking for its time, and yet,
Yes.
I'm a sweet transsexual from transvestite Transylvania. Like, not okay
Backwards.
in current language, right? Like, that's
Right. It isn't, and also, like, you can't be mad at Tim Curry. That song was the very first, like, cultural
right.
iconic
And you're right.
trans
Those words are flipped, and it's sweet
yes,
transvestite from
from
transsexual
transsexual
Transylvania.
Transylvania. Yes. Um, yeah, we should do I mean, we have done half an episode talking about these early kind of iconic queer drag trans, characters, at least these few that we're touching on. One last comment here, and then we're jumping into Banner and Backbone. Brushy said, I quite enjoyed the ping pong scene when I was a very straight younger person. Joke's on me. Big fan of women. I was like, I hate this, but deep down, I also like this, and I'm confused. There was a reason for the confusion with a few emojis. Yes, Priscilla opened up that, like, why am I responding like this? Um, I mean, art in general is frequently a first place where it becomes a touch point to recognize you're not alone. So I'm glad that you had a moment like that. Damn it, Janet. Okay, now we're going full Rocky Horror Picture Show. Thank you. 1 minute daily boost.
Victor says, Harry Tozer in question mark BRB staring at an only feet. I mean, yeah, like only feet is a real thing. uh,
Yeah,
I mean, like really, I mean, I don't know if it's called only feet, but it's either only feet or celebrity feet or something like that. Um, yeah,
yeah,
you know, like everything is in.
yeah.
There's a so there's the Substack called Gaiety, Gayety. It's mostly subscription only, and it's one of those ones that it's like $29 a month to subscribe to Gaiety. And they recently did a cover story on a trans man named Eddie, Eddy, who is so handsome. And before
Ooh
the
la la.
pay break, they're showing pictures of Eddie, and they're very graphic. And he is so fucking hot. And yeah, I mean, I guess my point is like every there's somebody for everybody. There's a website dedicated to that somebody for everybody. And exposing yourself to other things like I'm a as close to 6 on the Kinsey scale as you can possibly get gay man. And I looked at Eddie and I was like, would like absolutely. Also, Eddie's probably too young for me, but other than that, sexy dude. And yeah, there you go. I'm going to stop there before I embarrass myself further on the daily whatever.
Yeah, no, I think there's no embarrassment. The heart wants what the heart wants. Also, I noticed earlier that we had one of the generals rejoin our chat. Did you notice that too, Lawrence?
Morgan
General,
pointed it out, and I was trying to find
I
that
found.
particular general. So you need to block him
Yes,
to.
I'm General Albert Williams, if you're still here. Mr. Will defend the flag, MAGA, God bless America.
Oh yeah, I blocked
What
this dude.
what Yeah, you blocked him, I didn't, and I started this chat. So, oh, bye.
Goodbye forever.
Goodbye
Goodbye.
forever. Oh, that feels good, Lawrence. You're always the one who's like,
And
"Bye."
it's very empowering. And I mean, I'm sure it didn't hurt the feelings of the Russian bot farm that where General Albert Williams actually
I
lives.
hope
But
General Albert Williams, I hope you enjoyed all of the drag talk this morning.
right, yeah, enjoy, my brother. Have fun. You know.
Bye. Gone. Okay, Lawrence. Phew. That was an invigorating way conversation to start our day. It's only going to continue because you, with the wonderful Frederick Pogue and Nick Parrow, launched a new publication
Hmm.
called Banner and Backbone this weekend, and you all went big. I I like to think at Gen XE that we're kind of pioneering a little bit of how people use how they go live and use the chat for conversation and to build community. You all went next level, sacrificed a lot of sleep, and delighted a lot of people. Why don't you tell the audience here? I know you said it at the very beginning, but we've more than doubled the size of the chat since then. So, or listeners, why don't you talk about um, what Banner and Backbone is at a high level and what you did this weekend to launch?
Yeah. So, well, thank you for that. Sorry, I'm partly distracted because BJ said, "What is the shirt that I'm wearing?" So this is my Doug Flag Free Republic of Cascadia, from the line of shirts that I'm making to go along with my novel. I will find a link and put it in here. It's in the Substack section of Alpaca Lunch, and it qualifies for the discount, the Gen Xe discount for paid subscribers.
And on Wednesday, Lawrence will be reading from the latest chapter of his
Yes.
novel. So
Uh,
you have the whole week already done and
we've
get
actually planned our week. Can you
I
believe it?
know. Oh,
Thank you, Dana.
you're
While I was
welcome.
busy, doing Banner and Backbone and then catching up on sleep, Dana was busy planning out our week, which is excellent.
Yes, that was a big chunk of Sunday, and it feels so good to have it done. Hey, can I get a weigh in the chat? Like, raise your hand or say "woot" if you joined part of the 24-hour marathon while Lawrence is talking about it. I want to see how many. I recognized a lot of your names over the weekend, but I'm going to do a woot here that says I was there. Weigh in and give. I know. Well, Nick, I know you were there. I'm seeing the woots pouring in.
Nice.
Oh
Thank
my
you,
gosh.
everybody. Thank you so much for all of the love and support. Thank you to everybody who showed up and was, participating in the chat. And thank you if you subscribed and if you became a paid subscriber. So Banner and Backbone is, yes, a joint effort between myself and Nick Perro and Frederick Pogue. The idea is that we are forming a movement to rededicate ourselves to American civics, right? And we mean that kind of in every sense of the word, educating people about, the actual civic structure of our government and the way that it is supposed to function, the way that the Constitution is supposed to take primacy in our government, and how the oath that people take when serving in the military or serving in elected office or in government roles is an oath to the Constitution, not to any person or branch of government. And then kind of civics in the sense of like teaching people and about that, and in re-engaging with our communities and getting people to actually take action and do something. And Frederick Pogue had this brilliant idea that maybe we should launch with it was one of those kind of classic, like, oh, we had like like September 15th we're going to go live and blah blah blah, and then Frederick Pogue was like, or what if next week
Bear with
What
me.
what if next week we launch and we do a 24-hour marathon and we hammer home, release the Epstein files? Because that is
Yeah,
the message that we need to all be hammering on right now. Because the thing that is going to bring Trump down, the thing that is going to peel him away from his base, is releasing the Epstein files and proving what I think we all instinctively know, which is that he's all over the Epstein files, right? Like,
yeah.
I
How could there
get
be
that,
any
I cannot definitively say, I that Trump is in the Epstein files because we haven't seen them yet. But instinctively, intuitively, obviously, logically, we all suspect that he is on every fucking page of the Epstein files. And it isn't because they were picking out wallpaper for Jeffrey's new apartment. It was because Trump was an active co-conspirator and criminal in the, rape of girls in that pedophilia ring.
You made the wallpaper joke once before. Is there a truth to that I just don't know about? Did he
No, I
claim
mean,
Okay.
it's just sort of like the most banal thing I can think of is, like,
Yeah,
what is he going to say? Like, oh, he was my friend. No, I'm in the Epstein files because once we flew on his jet to go,
right.
pick out
Interior.
wallpaper for his, new kitchen in on Epstein Island. Like, come on, no, you didn't. You were fucking kids. You were a rapist. You're a monster.
Right. Yes, and also, like, satire, like, is the hardest thing to write right now because real life is such satire that I'm like, maybe there was something mentioned about how everything was
I
all
mean, it's one of those things that maybe there is, and I subconsciously absorbed that or whatever. But like, also, like, come on. Why does anybody believe his lies at this point? Like, we
right.
all know it's a lie. There was nothing, just because I don't know, because once you went and had coffee with the devil, doesn't mean you're, I don't know. I'm trying to,
I
you
think we
know,
we know that he's in there. We know that it's all him. He's in there at a really major level. Otherwise, we would all they would be like we would all have a pamphlet of the Epstein files at our home, right?
right, right. And
So,
so,
like,
and there's this piece of data that I keep harping on, which is, a poll came out within the last couple of days that people were asked, Republicans were asked, if it was proved that Donald Trump was in the Epstein files and had committed the crimes, so was a pedophile, right, was actively raping children, would you still support him? And 47% of Republicans said yes, they would still support him, which, first of all, you people are fucking monsters. Like, what the fuck is
It's
wrong with you? 47% of Republicans would still support
yeah,
him.
are
But
like,
the
"Yeah, that's
important number
fine."
there is that's half of the current 90% of Republicans that support him. If we could peel away half of his base because he is a proven, because he's in the files and we know that he is not just an adjudicated rapist, but a pedophile, that changes the electoral map everywhere. It changes the math because those are Republicans. You know that like already 90% of Democrats hate him. Like it would absolutely destroy him with independents, and half of his own support in the Republican Party would go away. That would get him out. We could remove him at that point. And so releasing the Epstein files is the thing that we need to do. And we were so lucky that Ellie Leonard, who's here in the chat, was able to
Ellie.
join us. Ellie is brilliant. She's joining Banner and Backbone as one of our featured writers, along with Melissa Corrigan, and Ellie's going to join you and me here on the day
Friday.
whatever for Fucked Up Friday, right? Yes, it's
Yes.
going to be a blast. So thanks, Ellie, for doing that. We're super excited.
Yeah,
Um,
I listened to, I first met Ellie, through the marathon this weekend, and I was listening for a long stretch. I think it was when you were off and she was on with Fred and Nick, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this woman is brilliant, and she's funny and humble," and, I was kind of starstruck, and then a couple hours later, I came into respite, like, I popped in, I think 3 or 4 times during the 24-hour cycle, and Nick was like, before he like kicked Fred off so that I could meet Ellie, and I was like, I'm a little starstruck. Hopefully, I wasn't too big of a nerd, but
no, I was
it's
watching. You were a total nerd.
okay. Good, thank you. Ellie, Ellie is from Port Angeles, from Washington
I
State.
heard that part. Yeah, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So, and I believe Ellie, it's your birthday today, right? You had posted that you were trying to hit a very big
Oh
milestone
my
for
God, that's right.
subscriber
Happy
numbers.
birthday, Ellie.
So happy birthday, fellow Leo. Should have known. We were 2 Leos in the house, but I haven't checked it to see how close you got to 10,000 subscribers, but I hope you hit it. Because I subscribed this weekend. She's brilliant and just posted a uh, not quite a missive, but a very long, well researched piece about the double assassination attempts during the election and whether or not they were valid.
And
And
that's great. And I think that piece was partly inspired by, I mean, I'm sure she'd already done a bunch of research on it, but we talked about it during the 24-hour launch marathon.
right.
And there are so many questions. There are so many sort of obvious um, errors, right? And
Hey,
I
your brother-in-law was talking about it, like, the next day because he's
right, like so. Yes, I was talking to my brother-in-law, and who is an army veteran, and was deployed in Afghanistan. Like he has used these weapons, and he absolutely knows how they work. And Nick was talking about it too. That like, if you if indeed you had been struck with a bullet, and I think when we say bullet, we think of like the small silver things,
right.
like little lead bullets from old guns. Um, yeah, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a NATO round and from an AR-15. And as Nick pointed out in our broadcast, and as I heard from my brother-in-law, if one of those even grazed your ear, you would die anyway because of the concussive shock, because of the sheer amount of damage that that a bullet like that would cause. Those bullets are designed to kill and maim. They're weapons of war. Those are weapons of war with ammo from war that is designed to make to do the most damage on flesh. And
Yeah. The fact that it was like a scrape that you get from, like, I don't know, walking into like
Right.
bumping something. I was even at the time knowing nothing about weapons, I was like, that doesn't look like a mm,
Yeah. Like that years from now, right? People are going to look back on that event and we are going to have enough data. It will have been exposed. I'm manifesting here, right? Like in the future, we will know that that was a fake attempt. And and we will know that they stage managed the entire thing. We will know all of the details. We will. And people will look at that and they will be like, how could you have all been so stupid? How could the national media have been so complicit in the manufacture and spread of a false story
twice.
without questioning that, and not just without questioning, but it reminds me of the push to silence that occurred during the Iraq War and the run up to the Iraq War, right? Where logically it didn't make sense. It didn't pass the smell test. Everybody's spidey sense, everyone who has spidey sense, their spidey sense was going off, and with this assassination attempt, it's the same thing. Like it doesn't pass the smell test. My
That
spidey sense tells me for 100 different reasons it is not true and that I am being lied to. And the media and even corporate Democrats, right? The, old Democratic Party leadership are all like, no, we don't question. Like, no, fuck you. We do question. When did it become a thing that we don't question? That's insane.
right.
So
It's
anyway, I'm still fired up from the weekend.
I know,
I
I
did
can
get 10
tell,
hours of
and
sleep last night.
I'm glad that you got the sleep that you needed. And yeah, I think these are the kinds of conversations that Banner Backbone is going to bring to light, and in real time, hopefully, not months later once the damage is done. He's reelected, right? It made him a hero with his arm up in the air.
Exactly.
Um, the yeah, the whole of it never made sense. And if it's the thing that Ellie repeats in this story that I never thought about, but that's so true, is that she was talking about, John Hinckley and how everyone knows his name
Right.
from the Reagan assassination attempt, which we were kids, she wasn't even born yet, and yet she knows that name, and she's like, "What are the names of the 2 attempted assassins, and why don't we know them?" Like, that's something that has to be intentional, that, um, the powers that be kept out. Why? And that points to something suspicious. And I was like, "God, I never thought about that." But yeah, I don't know. I read them last night. I still don't remember their names. They're not part of the zeitgeist.
Right.
And I don't think this was one of those conscious, like, don't remember don't talk
Oh,
about the
no,
people.
no. Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't like, somebody shot up
We
a,
all know
a school full of
Luigi's name.
kids.
We all know Luigi's name, right?
Right.
So that part really resonated with me. Um, to come back to Banner and Backbone, if I may,
Yeah.
um, one of the many things I loved about this launch, Lawrence, is, um, well, there's a couple thoughts hitting my head at once here. One is, like, Gen XE first and foremost, or the daily whatever first and foremost, is about building community. And I loved seeing that you and Nick and Frederick, we all connected here. And it's only been a few months, and already, like, this is an output. There are several podcasts. I know Kat and Soso are doing this as well. But the little community minded person in my made my heart very happy. Um, and I felt a real sense of pride about that. I hope you did too, of like
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I
building and
mean,
jumping. Yeah.
it's not it's not a secret that we absolutely love our community here, that we love the
Yeah.
chat. We love engaging with the chat and reading from the chat and encourage everybody to, like talk to us, yell at us, tell us we're wrong, teach us things. And I was so proud and excited that that energy really carried over, I think, into the chats that were happening throughout the time, the 24-hour shifts, or
Yeah.
the 4-hour shifts. So we split it up. There were 3 of us, and if we each did if we each did a 4 hour shift, that meant, 6 shifts, and we each did two, and blah, blah, blah. So, we rotated through, the three of us, but, it was really, really, active and engaging. And, we had people teaching us things and correcting us about things or asking questions, in the chat. And so, the fact that, yeah, I believe that, you know, Nick and Fred and I met each other through the Daily Whatever, through this community.
Yeah.
Definitely Fred, we met him, because Frederick and I both did a, like, fuck you Democrats kind of rant
Yes.
after Schumer, capitulated on the CR.
Yep.
Right. And you found Fred, and, we're like, you two should meet. Like,
I
he's
jumped
the straight Lawrence.
Yes. I jumped into his chat, the member chat on Substack, and was like, "Fred, I think you'd really like hi, I don't know you, Frederick, but you should really read this by my friend Lawrence." So it really did feel like, a dream come true watching you guys launch this new entity. Um, and that you have always been a big thinker, and you've always been super politically minded. And Gen XE and the Daily Whatever, this is our brainchild. So it's like the things we're each bringing to the table, some overlap and some are more specific to us. But your very first idea, really, or at least one of the very first ideas that you came with was the citizens' oath. And you were like, we're not required to take an oath as citizens, but we should be. We should be committed to fighting enemies, foreign and domestic. And you wrote a story about it in the earliest days of Gen XE when we were getting like 4 hearts and we were each one of them on each other's stories.
Right.
Um, I have we were challenging people to take that citizen's oath, and I'm gonna put this link in here. I shared it during the Banner and Backbone thing of like, this was me reading and taking it way back in like March or April, right? Probably April. Um, and Frederick was like the very first person who was bigger than us and got it.
Right. Oh, Frederick got it. Like, from the moment we talked to him about it, he was like, I know this, and I get it, and I'm absorbing it into my DNA, and I can now articulate it better than you can. And that was,
Yes.
an amazing, amazing experience to find somebody else who, like, just instantly, like, yes, we are
Right.
on the same wavelength, same same wavelength. I don't know what I just said.
Yes. And now here, I just shared a link to Banner and Backbone. You have banners, which we're going to get into next. They're kind of your pillars, your like moral code of
Yeah.
the guiding principles of the site. The first one is about the citizens oath. I just put the link in the chat if you all want to read this. And so to hear the three of you in conversation and like elevating this idea that you had a really long time ago, like Banner and Backbone is absolutely the place to
Right.
champion for ideas like this. And I mean, Gen X is still going to be here being like, yeah, but we're also going to talk about, I don't know, butts and drag and silly cultural things.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
Banner and Backbone, like, I'm so happy that you have a place for this idea. The second one is another idea of yours that I want to put in here, which oh wait, no, the second one is around
The second one is
why don't you share the
Nick's idea,
banners?
which is Rise, restoring integrity, service, and ethics in American life. Yeah.
Yeah, will you because I know your idea of human sovereignty, which was also a story uh a little bit more recently, but still a little while ago on Gen XE. I believe that's your third banner.
Yeah.
Why don't will you break down the banners and tell us about them?
Yeah. So the banner idea is Nick's, right? Like, the idea that our pillars are called banners. And as a vexillologist, as a person who loves flags, I absolutely adore the idea that, we're waving flags, for to advocate for specific things. And, uh, you know, the first banner being the citizens oath really makes a lot of sense. And I love it. I love that the citizens oath found a home at Banner and Backbone. And the idea behind the citizens oath is, and you all have heard me probably say this before, if if Congress people take an oath to the Constitution, if elected officials take that oath, if military members and people who work in the government take that oath, and naturalized citizens, the only people who aren't really obligated to take an oath to the Constitution are just your average person who was born in the United States. We pledge allegiance to the flag, but we don't take an oath to the Constitution. But we can. And so, so I came up with, I looked at the oaths. There are several different kinds of oaths to the Constitution, depending on whether you're in the military or, elected office. And I kind of synthesized those into one, and really only changed one line about, being willing to, you know, defend the rights and responsibilities afforded to you as a citizen of the United States of America. And kind of put it out there and thought, like, wouldn't it be remarkable if we could get people to sort of ice bucket challenge each other, because it's voluntary, right? Like, nobody's demanding that you do this. Nobody should demand that you do it. But if you are committed to American democracy, take an oath to the Constitution.
Yeah.
And if anyone objects to a person taking an oath to the Constitution of the United States,
How
what
can
is
they object to
fucking
that?
wrong with that person then?
Right?
Like, the only people who could possibly object to average American citizens taking an oath to defend the Constitution would be traitors who are anti-constitutional, right? Who don't want to
100%.
defend the Constitution. And so, like, this is the first banner. Like, Americans, regular average Americans, can take an oath to the Constitution and actively, vow to defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Foreign and domestic.
Right? And again, spidey sense and common sense and logic all tell us that there is an enemy domestic currently within our midst. It is MAGA, it is Trump, it is this rogue administration that is acting in anti-constitutional ways, that is attempting to overthrow American democracy and turn us into some form of theocratic, oligarchic,
Right?
dictatorship, authoritarian dictatorship, right?
Yeah.
So that's banner one. Banner two is, this great idea that Nick came up with, Rise, which is restoring integrity, service, and ethics in American life. And being committed to those things, and it includes kind of community outreach and mutual aid societies and doing things in your community, like helping the elderly go to the grocery store or picking up trash by the side of the road, or things that you can do to perform acts of service for the community, and to kind of restore the integrity and ethics and acts of service that um, used to be kind of baked into the
Yeah.
American code of what was right and good. And then the
I
third
love that.
banner, so I know we're coming up on time, and I've got to jump right at, because Nick and I are speaking to Kasim Rashid right after this.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Amazing, yeah. Props to Nick for reaching out and getting big names on his show. Um, but the third banner is human sovereignty, which is this kind of concept that I had. So the quick origin there was, I went to the No Kings and I can't remember if it was the No Kings protest or the one before that, the hands off protest. Inspired, like hugely inspired by all of the activism that I saw, and I came away from that energized, and I thought, and then what, right? And what next? And what do we do after that? And you know, and so human sovereignty is kind of outlining an ethos or movement, right? It's not meant to be a political party. It is meant to be a reframing of ideas around, what if we put people at the center of everything, at the center of our
Right.
democracy? We're supposed to be a democracy of, by, and for the people. What if we actually did that? What if we centered humans in our thinking and in our logic around our democracy, which would mean we should all be empowered to vote with no restrictions. We should all be informed without misinformation and disinformation. We should all have bodily autonomy over our own bodies, right? We should all have autonomy over our own digital footprint, and
Yes.
all of the data that corporations are currently doing. Because what has happened in our democracy is power. People serving in our democracy gather power and want to keep it, and corporations have become people and want power and want to keep it. And so, we have become a power and corporate corporatocracy focused government, and we need to say fuck that. People are at the center of our government. Real humans are the center of our government.
Yeah,
And human sovereignty also says the same is true of capitalism. Unregulated capitalism, late stage capitalism that we are all suffering through right now is, the snake that eats its own tail. It is the
horrible.
golem that destroys itself, because Milton Friedman is a fuckhead and was wrong. The only purpose of corporations is not to eternally increase shareholder value. If we do not put regulations on that, if we do not frame it in a way in which we say people and the environment are actually fundamental pieces, like increase shareholder value, yes, if it does not damage people, if it does not turn the
Right.
environment into only a resource that is meant to be extracted and never renewed or replenished, right? Like we
So
need
with
to
you.
recenter the way we are thinking about everything. And human sovereignty is my first draft on what I think that should be. And we want it to be a conversation. We want it to be something that people read and weigh in about and say, oh, you didn't think about this, or I love this. And what if we added, something else, right? And so I feel like it if we reframe in that way, it kind of captures um, the big issues of the day, right? Like bodily autonomy absolutely goes to the trans issue, and whether or not people in fact do have the right to own their own body and make their own choices about their own body, and and privacy, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you own your own DNA? If not, why not? Right? Do you own your own digital footprint online? If not, why not? Are there companies that, are trying to extract that information, your DNA, your digital presence online,
Mhm.
and profit from it? Yes. Should that be true? Probably not. Let's have that
Right.
conversation.
As you're saying all of this, Lawrence, I'm thinking about AI and art and, like, do you own the art you've created? Do you deserve to be compensated for your words,
And
your
absolutely, that is a core piece of this, right? Like,
right?
it tackles the
It's too
AI
expensive to
conversation.
pay everybody.
Because I think if we approach it from a human sovereignty point of view, the answer is, if
Yeah,
AI consumed your art, your writing, your painting, whatever, to train itself, you own a piece of that AI. And
yeah,
therefore, you should have a say in how it's used. And AI, if we're looking at it in a human centered perspective, corporations should not be building massive data centers to eat up electricity to create and train AI that is designed to take human jobs away. That entire equation is wrong. That is backwards. If we are thinking
yeah.
about it from a human sovereignty perspective, we should not be doing that because it is not the highest and best use of human potential.
Oh my god, there's Frederick Pogue joining now. Frederick, we have 1 minute left. We're talking about your publication.
So it
Um,
was a huge weekend. We got
yeah,
610 subscribers in that 24 hours. We got 55 paid subscribers. All of the money that we're raising is going to victims of the Epstein fund, to victims of Epstein. We're deciding how. Um, and we
yeah,
extended our launch discount through the end of this week. So please go check it out. Please, like, subscribe,
yep.
pay, whatever. And
Only
I got to
$10,
jump
you guys.
because I'm going to talk to
Yes.
Nick and Kasim right after this.
Oh my gosh, we should all jump. Let's go watch that. Thank you guys all so much for joining. Lawrence, Frederick, and Nick, thank you for your advocacy and for launching this amazing new publication. And we will see you all tomorrow. We will be here with Jonathan Small from Small Talk to talk about why Gen X should be the boss, but why the Wall Street Journal and apparently now the New York Times don't think we should be. Bye. Love you.
Bye.